I found something good about this COVID time when we have to social distance and do so much online. So I'm happy that I can share that with you today. It comes from my recent experience of listening to a sermon over Zoom that used Jesus's parable about the sheep and the goats. The reference is found in Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 through 46. I won't take time to read that today, but often this passage has been thought to be about who gets into heaven, but that's not the aspect of it that I want to talk about. What I'd like to share with you is how it's helped me in my faith journey. And I hope what I say can be useful to you too. How much do you know about sheep and goats? Ever had a pet sheep or goat, or taken care of them on a farm? I grew up learning how to take care of cats and dogs, and one Easter taking care of a bunny rabbit family, but I've never taken care of sheep or goats. However, I've been told that you can lead the sheep where you want them to go. They will follow you to the pasture that's best for grazing. But not so with the goats. In fact, if you have two pastures and they're side by side, separated by a fence, and you want the goats in one, you put them in the other, and they will jump the fence to go into the pasture you want. So could people be like sheep and goats? Jesus seemed to think so, and I agree. I think about our food pantry, a project many of us have worked on. And our leader probably doesn't want to be called a goat, but it's her willingness to step out from the group and make quick decisions that allows us to be the sheep, following her direction. That's how we get the food distributed in an efficient and fair way. So we appreciate the leader of church projects having some goat-like qualities, and we want at least some sheep on the team to help get the job done. Most of my life, I have to confess, I've been more of a goat. I've been the rebel who wanted to do things a different way. Sent to kindergarten, I turned around and walked back home when I didn't like following the instructions there. As a teacher, I needed to be a leader, a goat. And now I've noticed when trying to meet with a retired teacher friend, sometimes it's difficult to make a date because we both are so used to being the leader. So it's good that COVID restrictions, along with my recent health issues, have forced me to play more of the sheep role. By joining our Wednesday prayer sessions online or through a UMW study on Zoom a few months ago, or participating in Kathy Salazar's Bible and prayer study, I've been led to slow down, to pray and listen to God more. With the pandemic making it dangerous and often impossible to engage in activities I formerly pursued, I've come to appreciate God's leadership and the values of being like a sheep. Looking back, I can see that at times I used to plunge forward with what I thought were the ways to follow Jesus, without giving enough attention to listening for God's leading. With the virtual opportunities now, it's given me a chance to commune more with God. So I invite you to learn from my experience, to think about ways our virtual worship and study opportunities might help us to grow in our relationship with God, our Father, and Jesus, his Son. I told Pastor Dustin that I didn't have an Advent devotion, But with more thought, I'm realizing this is an Advent devotion, because Advent is a time for prayer and strengthening our relationship with God while we wait for the Christ child's birth. So now I'd like to close by reading the first part of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. God bless you all. Amen.